Yes, sir. What's poppin'? It's your boy, the boy Henry Heck, back at it again with another video. And today we're gonna do something a little different, and I will be speaking about a new, well, not a new game, but a game returning to the forefront on January 10th, and that game is Freedom Wars, a PlayStation Vita. It was locked inside of the PlayStation Vita dungeon. You know, people could only participate in this game if they owned it on the PS Vita. Now they're doing a remaster, and it will be coming to Switch, PlayStation consoles, and Steam. A lot of excitement was surrounding this. You know, some people looking forward to either replaying it or playing it for the first time, you know, after hearing about it. Because some folks will hear about it and then not want to, you know, go through the process of either procuring it on a Vita or going through the process of procuring a Vita and then also procuring the game itself, which could be a process. You know, you got to find a Vita of solid quality, which is not too difficult. You know what I mean? I think they stopped production of them in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. So you can get your hands on one for about 200, you know, solid quality, an awesome shape, about 200, you know, depending upon if you want you a slim or if you want you a OLED screen. You know, I got the OG OLED screen situation. I would like to procure myself a slim for the right price, but that ain't what this about. That's not what this about. But there was a comment in particular that, you know, I seen as I'm scrolling through, because I'm trying to see if, you know, there'll be a fit. A lot of times with these remasters and whatnot, I like to see if there's going to be a physical release so that I can, you know, see about putting something together and procuring that physical, you know what I mean? But I seen a comment right here that I'm gonna read it. Petty little moves like this by Sony, stopping it from coming to the Xbox as well, shows how weak Xbox are by releasing their games on the PlayStation, when Sony will do everything they can, even for something like Freedom Wars. Now, my comment in response to this was, seems as though they're not keen. I meant to say not keen on, but I said not keen using resources to put it where it most likely won't recoup porting costs. Because from a simple business perspective, that's just where my mind goes, you know, because traditionally these Japanese games don't do well on Xbox. They do well on PlayStation, they do well on Switch. It's kind of, I'm not really sure about the history of how well they do on PC, you know. Maybe it's good enough to warrant putting it over there, you know what I mean? But on Xbox, that's a different story. So by process of recognizing history and seeing what games go where, what games sell where, and, you know, how developers go about picking the platforms they choose to put the games on, it's just a logical conclusion for me to see that it ain't gonna make money over there. They're not gonna waste the resources. Simple. It just makes sense to me. Okay. Then the individual said 100% not the reason. How do you know that's not the reason? What about what happened points to Sony is just being petty? What about it? What they're just being petty. You know what I mean? And to say 100% not the reason, that means you're completely sure this is what's happening right here. You know. And then I responded by saying, yeah, because corporations displaying human emotion and being petty makes more sense. Which it don't. You know, companies are driven by money, numbers. They probably crunched the numbers. It wasn't worth it, so they decided against it. You know what I mean? It's not like they just scoffed. You know, it's not like there was an opportunity to sell 3 million on the Xbox and they was like, you know, we still ain't gonna do it. F them. Forget them. We still not gonna do it. That's not a conversation that I'm confident that it's not a conversation that took place, you know, when they went to look about where they're gonna put the platforms, and they just so happen to see that they can sell a few million copies over here and just decide not to do it just because it's Xbox. I don't think that's a realistic way of looking at it. And then the individual replied, yeah, because corporations have never tried to one-up each other with petty little actions before, right? That's totally never happened. And see, that word keeps popping up. Petty. You know, pay attention, it keeps popping up. And I respond by saying, some would call that business strategy. Businesses move by strategy. They don't move by these emotions. You know what I'm saying? They don't move. That wouldn't be, if businesses went by just emotions, it wouldn't be a successful business. You wouldn't get successful businesses that way. Going off of emotions, these things like this. Then another individual chimed in, but you know it happens. But you know it happens. No, actually I don't. And that's actually what I say. I actually do not. What happens is people feel a particular way about certain decisions. And then they project that feeling onto the result of those decisions to then describe it as something like petty. It's not them being petty, it's actually you feeling slighted. And that's just what the deal is. You know, because I had looked into some other comments where the individual would have just preferred it to be on Xbox. They say they're gonna buy it on PlayStation, but they would have preferred it to be on Xbox. For whatever reason, I guess they're a Xbox gamer first. That's their preferred platform. You know, but then to go on and say you're gonna buy it anyway, I don't get the complaint. Especially if you have access to the system where the game is going to be at, and you admittedly say you're gonna buy it, I don't really understand the problem. You know, maybe this person actually does not have a PlayStation. Maybe this person just only said that in order to add some validity in some weird way to the argument. You know, and that's why I, came to the conclusion that, this person just feels slighted. And because they feel slighted, they're going to call Sony petty, because ultimately they can't play the game on Xbox and they want to play it on Xbox. They got to go to this other platform in order to play the game, and they feel away. You know what I mean? These companies don't operate off human emotion. They operate off money. They operate off whatever decisions they can make in order to yield the most profit. They ain't doing this for charity. They're not doing this from the goodness of their own hearts. You know, when we see a game we enjoyed, we have a fond memories of, come back in the form of a remaster or a remake, rest assured they doing that to make some money. You know what I mean? They're not doing it just because, you know what, people enjoyed this game. I think it's time we should remaster this and put it on out. Put it on out for the people to enjoy. Nah, they probably look at, because this game was like the number 2 highest selling game on video. It's got numbers. It's got numbers behind it. You know what I mean? Because there's tons of games that people love that don't ever come back. Why? Recently, people been hollering about, Resistance and all these other games. All these other games from Japan Studios. Why aren't these games coming back? Because the numbers are not there to support putting the time and resources into bringing those games back. That's just what it is. Because if they crunch the numbers, let's say a game sale. I know this is why a lot of these other games from PlayStation Studios are getting these remasters. Original Horizon getting a remaster. Why? Because that joint sold like 20 mil. That joint sold hot 20 mil. You think if that joint sold 2 million, we'll be getting? No, we wouldn't. We would not. So I think, some people let their own emotions cloud the judgment and stop them from seeing things for what they truly are. Because to say a corporation is being petty and leaving money on the table just off the strength of they don't want Xbox to have something, especially something like this. Like, come on with it, bro. Come on with it. They putting the game on Switch because Switch games buy these type of games. They're putting the game on Steam because apparently they've done some work somewhere and people on PC are interested in these type of games. PlayStation, of course. You can't really point to Xbox and show an example of a game similar to this doing crazy numbers, being super successful. You can't do it. You can't do it. Point to your Final Fantasies. You can't do it. And that's all I got for you right now. I ain't gonna keep you too much long. I just thought it was like an interesting exchange about, how the corporations themselves move and make decisions, and how people interpret those decisions. Because what it all boils down to, and it's one lesson I learned in life from one of the homies years ago, eons ago: folk mad when you don't do what they want you to do. And that's where a lot of the conflict inside of the world comes from. Somebody is mad because this person didn't do something that person wanted them to do. This individual is mad because PlayStation, Bandai Namco didn't do what they wanted them to do as far as putting this game on top of the Xbox platform. Simple. So much so that, even though they have the platform that the game is going to be available on, so they say. I just found it odd and interesting at the same time, because I'm reading, I'm like, hold on, what you mean? What you mean petty? That's not how the real world works. That's not how money is made. That's not how businesses grow. And they don't grow and make tons and multiples of millions off the strength of being petty. They make strategic decisions, which will show to be in the company's best interest as far as where money is spent. And of course, not everything's a home run, obviously. But they do the research, they crunch the numbers in order to formulate a strategy to be that is beneficial to them. As far as profit and doing what they got to do, also keeping customers happy and making that money. It's a balance. You know what I mean? And I highly doubt pettiness is a factor inside of that equation. But that's all I got for you right now. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch y'all in the next one. I'm gone.